back.
There it goes. Live streaming is fun. Welcome everybody to the Kingdom Politics podcast. We are going from a different location today. So we got this awesome window behind us.
Yeah.
And we'll be back to our normal location next week.
Did you set the emergency brake on the bus before you got out?
I've had enough car trouble for.
Oh yeah, you had to fix your tire yesterday on the side of the road. That's inconvenient.
Yeah, my tire shredded on 95 North.
Oh my stars! Of all the places,
I had to get off at Quantico. I was lucky to get off at Quantico. You know what? Actually, because those guys are so nice to me, and we often speak ill of the government, I will give you something that Virginia does well. On 95, they have safety people who will come up behind you and put their big sign up and cones. And by the time my tire was finished getting fixed, I had two of them helping me.
Wow.
Protecting me from the craziness of people trying to get home. And those guys were super nice and very helpful. It was awesome. I don't know what their jobs are called,
right?
But they drive the VDOT trucks.
Yeah.
And it was really nice to have them behind my car.
Yeah. Now, did you have to fix it? Did you have AAA?
No, I had to call somebody and they came and gave me a brand new tire because in new cars, for whatever reason, they don't like to give you a spare tire. For the record, I can change a tire. I can do it pretty fast actually, but I didn't have one.
Yeah.
So, I ended up paying for someone to come and do my tire. They were super cool. It was pretty fun to watch that as well because a tow truck would have taken a long time to get to me. And this guy got to me pretty fast. And plus, then I just got to go home instead of going somewhere else. But anyway, I'm safe. And
awesome.
Shout out to those VDOT guys.
Absolutely. Now, what are they giving you cars now? Like a pump full of Fix-A-Flat?
Yeah, I do have Fix-A-Flat in my car, and I have an air compressor in my car, but it doesn't help when your tire is shredded.
Not at all.
Barely hanging onto your tire.
No. Fix-A-Flat tends to leak out of a great big gaping hole.
It really does.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's get into a couple announcements, though, that we'll do our plugs at the end as usual, but we've got some exciting announcements. Like we told people, we're working on some stuff. And we're going to be going out on the road a little bit. And if you're listening to us from Virginia, hopefully you know, and if you listen to us, you definitely know we have this abortion amendment vote coming up in November. So Dr. Huffman and I are hitting as many churches as we can. We've got to get Christians out to vote. So we've got September 17th at Benchmark Church. And all these are at 7 p.m. And then we have Crossroads Church. Both are in the Fredericksburg. Crossroads Baptist, by the way, because there is two Crossroads. Yes. Crossroads Baptist Church on the 18th. We have those two at 7 p.m. confirmed already. And we have, while I'm looking at it, and we have the Northern Neck, which that location we haven't gotten yet. But both of us will be out on the Northern Neck on September 12th. And then September 3rd, we're going to be over at River of Life Church as well, talking about the amendments. But that one will be more information when we get it.
Yeah.
So we've already got 4 in September. We have to get the word out about these amendments.
Yeah.
And then the other part, actually, you know what? I can share my screen. We'll get a little technical here. And I redid the Kingdom Politics website. So share. So if you're watching on the live stream, if you come to thekingdompolitics.org, we're going to start gathering people, making this more official, more of an organization. If you go over to the Get Involved tab, of course, everything that you need is on this website, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
It's got articles, which I need to write more. I got a bunch of ideas. I just haven't sat down and done it yet. That's my bad. But the events, the ones I just put on, and I've got some more to put on there. Those are on there as well. Um, our emails, but the get involved tab is what I just redid, and you can find ways to act. Find your place. We're asking people to come and join us on this wherever you're at. So there's a prayer team. Um, you can just volunteer with whatever your gifts are. Video production, writing. If you want to write for the site, just email us.
Yeah.
Research, anything like that. But then we also have call or email our government leaders is on here. If you want to testify in committee, we have this on here.
Yep.
Church outreach. If you want to help us reach more churches, like I said, we've already got 4 coming up. That's on there. And then if you follow the social media, we need help. I'm going to be honest with everybody. It's really not my cup of tea. I do my best. I honestly really do. I try my best, but most of the time I don't even think to do it. And so if somebody wants to help us with that, that would be a big help. But anyway, you can come down here to the volunteer sign up, and it will email myself and Dr. Huffman. And then you can select which area that you want to be a part of. And you can put other if you've got other gifts. And that's a great way to get involved. We will actually give you things to do.
Yeah. Just ask the volunteers we've already got.
Yeah, we will give you actual things to do. It's not just window dressing on a website. We are putting together something to make a difference.
Yes.
For our churches, for our kingdom of God, for our communities, for our state. This is a very serious thing that we are doing. We're already going to churches. So,
yeah.
TheKingdomPolitics.org. Our emails are on there. All the social media is on there.
Yeah.
And,
love to have you work with us.
Yeah, we're looking for help.
What we're trying to do is just like Will has already said, we're trying to change. We're not trying to say that politics replaces the gospel, because you and I both as pastors know that's not true. But we also understand the fact that, Jesus said, occupy till I come. And that means that we need to be busy in everything that he left us to do. And that includes the government. The very fact that Paul told Timothy to pray for your leaders and because God determined the salvation of them as well. So that assumes involvement. And so we want people to be involved. We need you to be involved. And, just like, Will said, whatever your talents are, we can put them to use. We've got people that've got research talents. We've got people that have got other talents. So just sign up, and, maybe your talent is praying, and that's the most important one. We sign up and we'll put you busy of what to pray for.
Yeah, we definitely need prayer. Everything that we do starts with prayer.
Yeah.
And for people to really understand, I did a video about this a while ago. Maybe I should do it again. But if you go to the book of Acts, the very first mission that Paul and Barnabas are sent on is to go to a governor. We really need Paul and Barnabas right now.
Yeah. Amen to that.
I wonder if she would give us a meeting. I don't think so.
No, she's already turned down multiple organizations calls to just come in her office and pray for her. She's turned those down.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Why would you turn down prayer?
That is, and in all fairness, I'm not going to say that the message ever got to her.
That's fair.
I'm going to be, if I was going to be totally fair, then, I will say that it may have.
Yeah.
But that's what that's how we were informed from her staff. No thanks, but no thanks.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Usually when I go to sit down restaurants, I usually ask the waiter or the waitress, because we're going to pray before dinner. I usually ask if there's something we can pray for them about.
Mm-hmm.
I have never had one person tell me no.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe that.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I don't know if all those people were Christians, but I've never had someone say like, oh, no, please don't pray for me.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
That's interesting. So, yeah, we're trying to put this together in a bit more organized fashion. I know a lot of people out there are frustrated. They want to do something, they don't necessarily know what to do. Um, that's where we come in. We'll help you find that area on what to do and where you can help. And it's at the ability of your level to help. If you've got kids, wintertime, there's still sports going on when the General Assembly's back in. I get it. You can't drop everything and go testify, but you can send emails, you can make phone calls, you can definitely do that. And when we have a heads up, we can, to be fair, we don't always have a heads up when things are going to be put before committee, but sometimes they are.
Yeah.
And so we can do that as well. We'll get all this information out to you. And, we want to make a difference for the kingdom. We want to make a difference for Christians, but also our communities. And we're supposed to go forth and seek the blessings of the Lord, but also the welfare of where we're put.
Yeah.
And this is where we're put.
This is where we're put. And we're not going to ask you if you want to. You certainly can, but we will write the email for you or give you a good structure. If you're not very good behind the keyboard, some people can send them, but just don't want to write them. We will help you with that as well. So anything that you want to volunteer to do, you've got support in doing it. You're not going to be out there by yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good point. We're not going to just feed you to the wolf.
Yeah.
And no. This is all about fellowship and supporting each other and moving forward the mission of Christ.
We are on the phone every day, multiple times a day, with our volunteers we have so far, and so you've got all the support you'll ever need. So volunteer to help us out.
Yeah, and we're not unreachable.
No, not at all.
I find that interesting.
We've both got 2 or 3 phones, so.
No, not me.
No, I've got
It's just one phone.
Just one phone.
I probably should get another one.
Call him late.
No, I watch West Coast baseball usually.
Oh, do you? Okay. All right.
But yeah, that's what we're working on. So there's live events coming up. Come out to those churches and there'll be anything we do, by the way, there's always a live question and answer.
Yes.
Always the ability to ask questions. I don't have a lot of rules, but one of my rules is I don't care to be part of something that you can't ask questions. Part of our faith is seeking answers.
Yeah.
And to do that, you have to ask questions. So that's part of what will always be part of it. But that's what we're working on.
That's it. And we could use your help.
And we'll have more live events too, as not just because the amendments, but after once the elections are over, we'll have more live events.
Yeah, because the left is always doing something dumb.
Always.
So there's always something to talk about.
Yeah, it's never going to stop.
There's always something to tour about.
Oh, for sure.
We've already seen so far some bills that they've dropped that we need to tour about after the amendments, even before session starts. We got plenty we can talk about.
Yeah, that's really what the next focus will be is getting ready for the next session and getting people prepared so that I remember last session and you know better than anyone really because you were there, but everyone's just shocked that now not all the taxes passed, to be fair, but 50 plus taxes were proposed.
Yeah.
And the shock that people had, you could have seen that one coming.
Yeah.
But that's what we'll help people do is to see it coming so that we can all be prepared.
Yeah.
And move forward. So what we got on the docket for today, sir?
Well, one of the things that I wanted to bring up is because a number of reasons. You and I understand one of the amendments that we're touring about is the abortion as the same-sex marriage amendment.
Yep.
And we want to remind some people of some things that this amendment that's going to be on the ballot in November, one of the 3, is not just about same-sex marriage because they can do that now.
Yes.
Perfectly legal in the Commonwealth of Virginia to be married, same-sex couples. You can get a license from the courts. Perfectly legal. You can have all the benefits of a heterosexual couple. And so it's a lot more to it than just the actual process of marriage. It needs to be understood quite clearly that in this resolution, and that's before something becomes a constitutional amendment. In law, when you're working on a new law, it's a bill, but when you're working on a constitutional amendment, it's a resolution. And so when we use that language, that's why we're using the different language, because it's not a bill, it's a resolution. So one of the things that's in this resolution, Will, is the language that introduces the difference between sex and gender. It says in the bill that the Commonwealth and its political subdivisions will recognize all legal marriages, uh, regardless of sex, gender, or race. Now, they put the race in there that really hasn't really been necessary since 1967 in Virginia v. Love, since that was already decided, or Virginia v. Loving. I'm sorry, that was already decided. So, but it's in there. But the main thrust is the gender and sex. And what they are doing is introducing gender fluidity, uh, biological sex fluidity. In other words, they're making part of the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Virginia your right to say you're a girl if you're a boy, or vice versa. And it's not only something that's going to be permitted on a local level through a local high school or organization or whatever. It's something that's going to be protected by the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Virginia. And I don't know that a lot of people understand the fact, Will, that there's a big difference between something being the law of Virginia and something being part of the Constitution of Virginia, because constitutional law always supersedes statute. If the law makes a certain statement, but the Constitution is vague on that same statement that the law makes, people need to understand the law doesn't win. The Constitution, the vagueness of the Constitution wins. And so when they introduce fluidity in biological sex, they are introducing into the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Virginia your right to say you're a girl when you're a boy, or vice versa, or any number of gender identities that they want to say. If you want to say that you are, here's what it really gets ridiculous. If you want to say, Will, that you are a cat, you will have the constitutional right to say that you are a cat, because of the way that the constitutional amendment reads. So it has to do with a whole lot more than just marriage. And on that note of gender and sex, of course, Will, let me say that there's no such thing as gender. You're XX or you're XY. You're male or female. The Bible is very clear. There's not only biology, it's Bible. The Bible says God made them male and female. He took the male and female and put the male and female in the garden and said, male and female, Adam and Eve, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. There was no gender fluidity in original creation, and so there is no true gender fluidity now. It's Romans 1 that God has given them over to a reprobate mind. But on that note, we want to remind everyone of the Supreme Court case in.
Before you do that one, can I just pull up so people can see?
Sure, yeah,
so here's the actual bill that Dr. Huffman's talking about, and you can see how short it is.
Yeah.
So this is straight off their website. It's this is what's going for, well, this isn't what's going to be on the ballot.
No.
So so for people to understand, that's a ballot question. It will not be this bill that we're showing you right now. It'll be a question that you have to answer. Yeah. But you can see where they crossed out a lot of things. You can see how short this is. Marriage is one of the vital rights essential to the orderly pursuit of happiness. That's really an interesting choice of words. Yes. Orderly. Because there's just no order.
No, there's nothing orderly about two men marrying each other.
You know, when you read these things a couple of times, I've read this a bunch and I didn't pick up on orderly. Orderly pursuit of happiness. Anyway, we're going to go off on a tangent.
Well, the reason that they, not to go off on that tangent, but the reason that they added that language, not necessarily the word orderly, but the reason they added the language, the pursuit of happiness, goes right back to Obergefell v. Hodges from 2015, because the Supreme Court decided in that case, in a 5-4 decision, the Supreme Court decided that marriage is part of an orderly pursuit of happiness. That's why they say it's
Oh, so they just took that
they
out.
just borrowed that
Yeah,
language.
okay.
That's why they say it's protected under the 14th Amendment, because it's an orderly pursuit of happiness. Now, I love being married. The Bible says marriage is the grace of life, but it doesn't say that that's a right. Marriage is not a right. The Supreme Court
It's a
justice.
sacrament.
Yes, it is. It is exactly what it is. It's the Supreme Court justices in Obergefell v. Hodges in 2015. There was a same-sex couple in Ohio that they got married in another state. I believe they got married in Maryland, moved back to Ohio. The partner died, and Obergefell, which was a living partner, because at the time Ohio did not recognize same-sex marriages, he did not receive any of the benefits of a married couple. So therefore, he sued the Attorney General of the state of Ohio, went all the way to the Supreme Court, 2015, landmark case there that took place. And they basically said that if marriage is a right to life protected under the 14th Amendment, and if it is a right that's protected under the 14th Amendment, it cannot be limited to heterosexual couples. We also have to give that right and that protection to same-sex couples who want to get married as well. But because it is a, quote, orderly pursuit of happiness. So yeah, they just kind of borrowed that language.
Yeah, well, let me go through this and I'll stop sharing it. So deny the issuance of a marriage license to two adults, and everybody can see this here, seeking a lawful marriage. It's very short. Lawful marriage on the basis of the sex, gender, or race of such persons. Just like Dr. Huffman said, we're going to start doing some more of this, putting these bills up here so that people don't think we're just coming up with stuff.
Yeah.
The Commonwealth and its political subdivisions shall recognize any lawful marriage between two adults and treat such marriages equally under the law, regardless of such persons, sex, gender, or race of such persons. And that's it, everybody. You can see it here. This top part is just the general legalese where they have to do but the actual amendment is here, section 15-A. And when we look at rights versus sacraments, rights, an orderly right, I find that interesting, especially from a biblical perspective. It's interesting that they would use, this is why the orderly thing triggered my mind.
Yeah.
God is a God of order. It's one of the characteristics of the Lord.
Yeah.
There's an order to everything that he does. There's an order to the Trinity. There's an order to us. There's an order between us and him.
Yeah.
Once we took the sacrament that he gave us and corrupted it, the order broke down.
Yeah.
And we can see this play out. This is where people have got to be objective. It's one of the great reasons why I love the Bible. Not just because Christ is our Lord and Savior, but we are able to have some objectivity with our own sin and with society's sin.
Mm-hmm.
And so, regardless of how you may feel about marriage, whether it's a rite or a sacrament, whether it's between man and a woman, whatever it is, there is no doubt that once the order broke down, chaos ensued.
Yeah.
That can't not be denied. That all of the evidence is there, not even just biblical evidence, sociological issues, psychology, sociological issues. I said that one right. Psychological issues, the breakdown of just common decency.
Yeah.
It has had wide-ranging implications in our communities,
yes,
our families, our churches. There's no church that's immune to this amendment.
No.
And to what has been unleashed onto the world, because we took the order of the family that God has given us and we broke it down.
Mm-hmm.
So I find it very interesting that orderly pursuit of happiness was used. And I understand it came from the Supreme Court. I didn't know that before, but it's an interesting turn of phrase when you look at the effects of all this that it has had. It's anything but orderly.
Yeah. And it's interesting that if you look in the medical journals, gender incongruence, now it used to be considered a mental illness, but it's not anymore in American medical psychological journals. But gender dysphoria is. Now, the difference is gender incongruence is a difference between experienced gender and assigned sex. In other words, I'm a boy, but I think I'm a girl.
Right.
The dysphoria is the distress or the impairment related to that incongruence. Now, that is considered a mental illness. So if the distress or impairment that's related to that incongruence is a mental illness, don't you think we probably ought to look again at whether the incongruence itself is a mental illness? But anyway, we can talk about medical journals a little bit later. But I did want to make a mention that in 2025, the Supreme Court in a 6-3 decision, and of course, the three were the usual suspects: Sotomayor, Kagan, and Jackson were the
Yeah.
dissenters on that. In 2025, and Mahomed v. Taylor,
My
they
favorite one.
yeah, they decided that parents, in fact, do have the constitutional right to opt their children out of LGBTQ plus classes,
Yeah.
and if a child is assigned a subject or a book that their parents are uncomfortable with, or that violates their deeply held religious conviction, that the schools have to honor that and give an alternate assignment. Now, the interesting part about that is how the General Assembly in Richmond have tried to stop that.
Could I add a little context to that Supreme Court case?
Absolutely.
Because most people are probably going to, if you don't know the case, most people are probably going to think you're talking about middle school or high school kids.
No, right.
It started with kindergartners.
Yeah.
Kindergartners were not allowed to opt out.
Yeah.
People need to go look up that case. It's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
It's mind-blowing to me that the Supreme Court had a rule on it. Anyway, I just wanted people to understand we're not talking about 15, 16, 17-year-old.
No.
We're talking about kindergartners.
Right. And in fact, on that note, Will, I was with a gentleman Monday who has a ministry in Henrico County. And there is a book that for some years, about 20 years ago, because his daughter or granddaughter was approached with this class in Henrico County Public Schools 20 years ago. The book, I don't know, you've probably never even heard of it, because I hadn't either. It's not really a book that's on your bookshelf. It's called Girl Stuff.
No.
You don't have a book called Girl Stuff on your
No, girl stuff in my house is used when something's going on, but I don't need to know about it. We just say girl stuff, and I'm like, cool, good. I don't need to.
I'm done. I'm done. Yeah.
No, I have a different meaning for that.
Yeah. Well, the name of this book was called Girl Stuff. And this was, now get this, folks, this was recommended reading 3rd to 7th grade.
Ooh.
And it gave descriptions of female masturbation, fisting, and all other types of grotesque sexual practices in Henrico County, Virginia, about an hour and a half, 2 hours from here.
Yeah.
In the public schools to 3rd to 7th graders. And the thing about it is, Will, our General Assembly in Richmond has not gotten any better. And why? Because first of all, you had this past session. Now, of course, in 2024, you had HB 571 and SB 235, but that was before the Supreme Court ruling. But even in this session, you had Mamie Locke, patron SB 19, which passed and was signed by the governor, Abigail Spanberger. And what was about was sexually explicit material in public schools, beginning with elementary. And what the bill said was this. Now, the bill did say that parents had to be notified, but that wasn't because Mamie Locke put it in there. That was already there. She just didn't take it out. But what she did add in that bill, and the part that was new, is that it only requires parental notification. Now, folks, get this. This is in Virginia. It only requires parental notification. I think Will's got it on the screen now.
It'll be in there
It
in a second.
only requires parental notification if the book, whether it be visual, audio, video, or whatever, only requires parental notification if it's assigned by the teacher. Parents do not have to be notified if that same media is in the library. So if it's a class that a teacher gives, you have to read 50 Shades of Grey, for example. That's the worst one I can think of off the top of my head. The teacher in a fourth grade class assigns 50 Shades of Grey. Parents have to be notified. But if 50 Shades of Grey is in the library, for that same fourth grader whose parent may opt them out of the class, that same book is in the library and it's protected against censorship by Mamie Locke's bill. That goes directly in face of everything that the Supreme Court did in 2025, not just for the LGBTQ+, but what the Supreme Court justice decided is that parents have the final say in what they're in the information that their kids are being taught. And Will, you know as well as I do, what kids are taught should include what's in the library just as much as what's being taught in the classroom. And when I stood in the General Assembly and argued with Mamie Locke about that bill, I was like, listen, you're not the one that added parental notification. It was already in there. You just didn't take it out. But what you have added a roundabout way for these same young people who are opted out of those classes to be able to access those books anyway, to be able to access those videos anyway. And that flies right in the face of the decision that the Supreme Court made, and it flies right in the face of 22.1-1618 of the Code of Virginia, which is the code that talks about parental notification, that in all assigned instructional material, if it contains sexually explicit content, the parents have to be notified about it, and the kids have to be able to have an alternate program. But yet, Will, they're still allowing those books to be in the library. But also a note to make, in 2024, when HB 571 and SB 235 were in the General Assembly, guess what party, every single member of which party voted against that bill for parental notification? Every Democrat voted against parents being notified. It passed by a shoestring, and of course the governor signed it. But every Democrat voted against parents being notified.
Yeah, sometimes people don't believe me. Here's the truth. They think, by they, I'm saying the left, not necessarily teachers, although some teachers, there's some good teachers though.
Yeah.
But particularly progressive lawmakers, and we're just stop saying progressive. We're talking about socialism and communism.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Those people think that they can raise your kids better than you.
Yes.
Is why there's no parental notification.
Yeah.
They believe that they know better than you. They think that they can do a better job teaching your kids.
Yep.
And that you don't know what you're talking about.
Right. Exactly. And that's the exact reason why Delegate Hamilton's Sage's Law bill, HB 532, that we talked about a couple of weeks ago, was passed by the left, because they don't want, and everybody here probably, or if you follow this program, you all remember that Sage's Law would have required that for at least one parent to be notified if their student was showing signs of gender incongruence or wanting to be called by a different pronoun than the biology. The law would have required that at least one parent be notified that was happening before the school could implement anything that the student was requesting. And the progressives in Richmond bypassed it immediately because they don't want parents involved in the education and in the raising of their children. And that ought to offend anyone. I don't care what side of the political aisle you come down on, whether you're conservative or liberal, whether you're pro-life or pro-choice, even whether you're pro same-sex marriage or pro-traditional family. it ought to offend you that the state or the Commonwealth believes that they can raise your children better than you, and they try to keep you out of the classroom, and they try to keep you ignorant of what's going on in your child's life, and they try to keep you ignorant of what your child is feeling and being taught.
Yeah, it's a real issue, and it Sage's Law is an example of it, but it's everything. Um, it's supposed to be a partnership between parents, schools, I mean, not
Mhm.
not the government,
Mhm.
but schools is supposed to be a partnership between the parents and the teachers.
Yeah.
Now, the parents have to be fair, we have a very high parenting shortage as well. Um, but that's the way it's supposed to be, and it's not the way that it's executed,
Right.
um, at all.
No.
And there should be nothing that it's wild. Like at my kid's school, he's not taking a Tylenol without a phone call.
Right.
Like, and we're talking about life altering situations,
Yeah.
drugs, and of course, Sage's story is heartbreaking. And we've discussed it on this show before, but we're talking about life altering things. Uh, I don't know if it was a coincidence or bad luck or what it was, but Spotsylvania school board just voted to not have drug testing, and like less than a week later, they had to send a teacher home because that teacher was I don't know what she was under the influence of something. I don't know if it or he or she, I don't know who it was.
Right. Right.
Um, I don't know if it was alcohol or drugs, but they had to send that teacher home
Mm.
right after they voted not to have drug testing. And I understand the argument. And it's the same argument for our politicians too, but people will say, well, Will or Dr. Huffman, like, what are we supposed to do? We already have a teacher shortage. If we implement drug testing, we're not going to have teachers.
Right.
Okay, so the answer then is to what? Have teachers that are on drugs?
Right.
That's a terrible answer to the question. And to be honest, it's a really lazy answer to the question too. And I don't quite understand why everyone gives up so easily on the standards. It's always the first thing to go out the window. Well, we're having a hard time hiring people, so let's just stop drug testing.
Right.
Well, that's not the answer.
Let's lower the bar.
Yeah, let's lower the bar to make it easier. And I hear the same thing about our politicians too. People will come complain, and obviously this whole show is like predicated on complaining about the left, but we're trying to do something about it.
Yeah.
Is my point I'm trying to make. So people will come complain about the Republican Party or the Democratic Party, but no one's going to want to do anything about it. And it's not the right way to go about things. It's not what we should be teaching our kids either.
No.
Well, you know what? We couldn't hire anybody, so we hired just whoever, and they're on whatever drugs that they're on. It's a terrible way to go, and it makes no sense to me why. Especially if you're a superintendent, like you're making six figures.
Mm-hmm.
Part of what you're paid to do is to figure it out.
Yeah.
You're making six figures. Fairfax County Public Schools, that superintendent, she makes more. I think she might be the top paid superintendent in the entire country. Figure it out. You're getting paid enough money.
Yeah.
If you're on the school board, well, you ran for that position. You wanted that position. Now you have it. Figure it out.
Yep.
Do the right thing for the kids. Stop using. Here's the other thing, too, about the school boards. Stop using the school boards as a jumping point to the next political office.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like a ladder.
That's what they do.
Yeah. Yeah.
I made the school board because that's an easy W because not that many people vote in school board elections, which is true.
Yeah.
And so they hop on there, they do whatever, they get their name out there, and then boom, they hop it to the delegates or they hop it to the Senate or whatever it is they hop it to next.
Yeah.
No, you're there for however long the school board term is. Do the right thing.
Yeah.
I'm not saying to stay there forever because I don't think anybody should stay anywhere forever, but just do something good for the kids. Enough with this non-parental notification stuff. And then they wonder why people are leaving Virginia.
Yeah.
or they wonder why. And see, it all comes together because then you have Helmer's bill that we talked about last week. Well, why does he have to do that? Well, he has to do that because everyone's leaving public schools. And
Yeah.
so now the answer is, instead of fixing the public schools, to go after the private schools.
Yeah.
And it's all connected.
Yeah. Instead of fixing the public schools, we're going to make you put your children from private schools and back into public schools. We're not going to fix the problem.
No.
We're just going to make it impossible for you to put them in private schools.
Yeah. And homeschool will be next.
And homeschool will be well, they've already tried.
Well, yeah, they try homeschool all the time.
Yeah. And so we didn't see it last year, but I'm surprised we haven't seen it already. But we will. We will.
Yeah, it's really aggravating. It's like I saw Helmer posted something on X the other day about gas prices. And he took a shot at Trump, which is fine. Whatever. That's what they all do all the time. But you know what Helmer could have done? He actually, because the Republicans proposed a tax holiday on the fuel, he actually just could have done the right thing by the people he represents and worked. Gosh forbid we work with somebody, and he could have worked with the Republicans and gave us all a tax holiday on the fuel taxes.
Yeah.
But he didn't do that. But he'll stand there and take pot shots.
Yeah.
At Trump and say, oh, it's Trump's fault and this and that, right? But you could have done something.
But he would have also been the first one when Biden was president to say that the president doesn't have anything to do with gas prices. He'd have been the first one to say it. And how about getting rid of the car tax, Will? Instead of taking a pot shot at the president over gas prices, which I will agree that the president doesn't have a whole lot to do with gas prices. It depends on the crude oil, and we don't and people want to blame his foreign policy, but the fact of the matter is, if you research it, we buy most of our oil from Canada if we don't get it domestically.
Right.
So we buy very little oil anymore from the countries that we are at war with. So that doesn't compute. But if you want to, instead of taking pot shots at the president over fuel prices, why did you vote against? Why did you vote Dan Helmer? Why did you vote against getting rid of the car tax? That would have helped people offset the price of fuel. But like you said, you don't want to do the right thing.
Yeah.
The Democrats, the socialists want to run on Trump. They're going to do everything they can to fight Trump, and that's their only narrative, and they win on that narrative because the church doesn't get out and counter that narrative because of one reason or another. I told a church I was in a couple weeks ago that I get so tired of hearing Christians say that, well, I'm not going into the polling booth and hold my nose and have to vote. Well, Will, the fact of the matter is, unless you're voting for the Lord Jesus Christ for office, you will always be holding your nose because you will always be voting for one of two sinners.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you'll always hold your nose.
Yeah.
You just have to hold your nose. You just have to vote for the one that you have to hold your nose at least tight about. Which one of the two sinners is going to lead this country closer to biblical principles? I'm not even saying that you have to vote for the one that's a Christian. You know, John Jay said in the first Chief Justice of the United States Supreme Court that if you were not a Christian, you shouldn't even be considered for public office. That's what our founding fathers thought. Yeah. But I'm not saying that you have to vote for the Christian if there's no Christian running, but which one is going to lead this country or this Commonwealth closest to, whether purposely or accidentally, going to lead this country closest to biblical principles? Which candidate is closest to being friends of Israel? Which candidate is the closest of being friends to religious liberty? That's the person that you need to biblically consider voting for. Not say, well, I'm tired of holding my nose, so I'm not going to vote at all. You don't have permission by God not to be involved in your government, at least by voting.
Well, and the other part is because people will, comment or say something. You have to start where the culture's at. So the culture in terms of Christianity and being involved in the public square is behind the eight ball. Mm-hmm. You want Christians to run?
Yeah.
Then you have to get out and start doing something.
Yeah. And
you have to get out and start supporting the ones that are either in office or trying to get to office.
Yeah.
Right? You can't, it's not, everyone is just so short-sighted all the time. Well, if this doesn't happen, then I'm not dealing with it at all.
Right.
That's a terrible attitude to have. If William Wilberforce had that attitude,
they'd still be the slave trade in England.
Yeah.
Or they would have had it for a lot longer.
They would have had the slave trade in England for a lot longer, but that's not what he did. He took it when he could get it. It took him 3 different bills, decades to do it, and he had to change the culture at the same time. It's the same thing here. People will get upset about voting or whatever it is, but you have to meet the culture where it's at. It's like when Christ comes into your life. Are you perfect Christian when Christ comes into your life? No, because you probably weren't following him very closely, even if you think you were, right?
Yeah.
No, he takes you where you're at, and there's a sanctification process in which you become more holy as you get down your journey in faith, right? And you wrestle with all these big things, and it's the same thing with culture. We have a culture that is in Romans 1 culture, and we think that we're just going to wave a magic wand and be like, well, and if that magic wand doesn't work, we're going to just step back from it anyway. Right. And it drives me crazy because you expect the left to do that. It's exhausting when the right does it.
Yeah.
I expect Delegate Helmer to take pot shots at Trump about the fuel prices, even though I know for a fact he could have done something to fix it for us and help us.
Yeah.
Even though I know that regardless of what is behind his name in terms of Democrat or Republican, he's supposed to be representing his people.
Yeah.
I'm not one of them, even though I live in Fairfax. I'm not one of his. But I guarantee you the people that live in his district would really appreciate
him actually doing something.
A tax holiday on the fuel tax.
Yeah.
He could, and you know what? You still could, and I'm doing his job for him. You still could have stuck it to Trump.
Yeah.
You could have gone out and said, look what I did for my people, and you're not doing it.
But they're more interested in platforms and pot shots than they are of actually, like you said, representing their people and doing the right thing.
Yeah, it's just like, I just get so frustrated. And you hear it from the right, we were talking about it before we came on here. I'm all for bringing people in front of Congress. All for it.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm not for is for people to get their 30-second reels or their 30-second videos or whatever on TikTok and Instagram and all that of them yelling at somebody.
Right.
I'm tired of that. It was funny at first. It's not funny anymore.
Right.
We need some actual consequences for people who have been running this country into the ground and doing it against the Constitution. There has to be consequences.
Yeah. If you want to put yourself on YouTube or Facebook yelling at somebody that's in trouble before a judiciary committee, fine, but do something about it. It's like all these bills that were written that are laws without teeth, just so we can go back into like we've discussed many times here. Well, we can go back. They can go back to their district and say, "Look what I did! Look what I did! I did this." Now I can hear Dan Hellman now. Look at all the bills I did to fight against Trump. I'm going to fight against Trump. You weren't with me back then, but I remember the first reconvene session that I attended. The reconvene session is when we come back about 8 weeks after the close of the General Assembly, and they take up the governor's vetoes. Of course, Governor Youngkin was still governor then, and I lost count. I kid you not, Will, every Democrat that stood up to speak at that reconvene session, every one of them said that the Republicans are too afraid of Trump. They made every bill that the Governor Youngkin vetoed, which was over 400. They made every bill that he vetoed about being afraid of Trump. I will promise you one thing: Glenn Youngkin was not afraid of Donald Trump.
Isn't former Governor Glenn Youngkin a billionaire? Close to it?
Times over.
That's what I thought. I don't think he's afraid of many things. Then
when he ran for governor, he's so wealthy he gave his own campaign $25 million.
What a world!
It's a world that I can't even imagine living in.
No, me neither. Yeah, it's a lot of it's based on fear, right? Like, look at this marriage thing.
Yeah.
That we were just talking about. I guarantee you here's going to be the talking point for the left. And I called you about this, whatever it was, like a week ago. I guarantee you the talking point is going to be, if we don't pass this, they're going to take same-sex marriage away from us.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guarantee you that's going to be the commercial.
Yeah.
and it's going to get people to vote for it.
Absolutely.
But even though that's not true, it's not true at all. It's a blatant lie.
Yeah.
You can already do that here in Virginia.
Well, how do we know that they're going to do that, Will? Because how can we look into we don't have my crystal ball's out of batteries, and I'm sure yours is as well. So how do we know that that's what we're going to do? Because I've got video. In fact, you can go to VAIB Sutherland and see the video. I've got video of when we were arguing Karen Hamilton's SAGE law bill, Born Alive bill in subcommittee. I have video of Planned Parenthood coming after us saying that this is the first step to trying to abolish abortion in Virginia. And that is a lie. Would Karen Hamilton like to get rid of abortion in Virginia?
Probably.
I'm sure she
would.
Okay. But this Born Alive bill was not the first step to get rid of abortion. It was just protecting the life of a child who was born because of the abortion, born alive because the abortion failed. But Planned Parenthood got up right after her and said, well, you need to oppose this general subcommittee because this is the first step of the right to try to abolish abortion. And it is a lie of Planned Parenthood, the left, and the socialists.
And you know what the right should have done? And I'm gonna sing the praises of that bill everywhere we go. And we're gonna go to churches and stuff real soon. And I'm gonna bring that bill up. And I have at other churches.
Mm-hmm.
The right should have stood up and said, no, this is our attempt to protect children, something you're not doing.
Amen.
Oh my goodness, it drives me crazy that people do not talk about that bill more.
Yeah.
And they just let it die in committee. And I know Delegate Hamilton talks about it, but I hope more people start talking about it.
Yeah.
Because it was an attempt to protect children. And the same thing with the schools. You should not have to go to the Supreme Court to protect your child.
No.
Think about it. That's the America we're living in right now. That in order to protect your child, a group of parents had to go all the way to the Supreme Court.
Yeah. Yeah. That's ludicrous. It's unfathomable.
It really is. Like it's what we talked about, I think, last week. We have to decide. Christians have to decide what kind of society we're going to have.
Yeah.
Are we going to continue the Romans 1 thing, and we're just going to live in our? This is the way I like to. I met with a pastor the other day, and this is the way I explain churches. We're silos.
Yeah.
We stay in our little buildings or big buildings for some people. To be fair, I'm not
tense.
It's funny. I wasn't judging, but it's just funny. You go to some churches and you're like, oh my gosh.
Wow.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. If you can do it, do it. But yeah, tents, whatever, houses.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to decide if we're going to be silos or we're going to actually fulfill the Great Commission, because it says, and this is what I was talking with a pastor the other day about, Jesus, it says in Revelation that all knees shall bow.
Yeah.
Everyone will bow before Christ. The Great Commission doesn't say, go make disciples of all nations. It doesn't, it does say that. It doesn't say, go make disciples of all nations, but only if they come to your building.
Right.
Don't leave the building.
Well, the first word of that is go.
Yeah, go. Of all people, that means the government. Like we said at the beginning, Paul and Barnabas, their very first mission was to a governor. Everywhere Paul went, guess where they dragged him in front of? Some sort of government.
Yeah.
Now, granted, it was a different government because he went to different places, but some sort of government he got dragged in front of every single time.
And in fact, one time when they tried to beat him, remember the book of Acts, they tried to beat him. He went back, he used his own constitution to get out of getting beat. Yeah. He said, "You really going to beat a Roman?"
Yeah.
Like, you're what? You're a Roman? Yeah. We got to think about this, fellas.
Yeah.
So even Paul went back to his own law.
And God works through the government. Yes. I like to do this at every Christmas. You know why Joseph had to go to Bethlehem? Because the Roman governor enacted a census.
Mm-hmm.
Joseph's not going to Bethlehem without the Roman governor calling for a census.
Right. He didn't go to Bethlehem just to find a stable to put the baby Jesus in the manger.
No.
He could probably have been a lot more comfortable where he was in Nazareth.
Well, you didn't travel back then.
No, it's too
Not
dangerous.
that far.
Yeah, not with a 9-month pregnant wife.
No. You don't. You didn't. So God works through everything, and God has given us this government to see. We're gonna see what we're gonna do.
Yeah. And the thing about it is, Will, the Bible tells us that no man lights a candle and puts it under a bushel. But they put it on the but they put it on the lampstand. But we do.
We do, because we're silos.
We light our candle, yes, but we keep it inside the church building, like you said, silos.
Yeah,
we keep it inside the church building instead of going outside, not only with the gospel, but taking the gospel to our political leaders.
Yeah, and we all have different. See, and this is what I was talking to somebody at a Bible study the other day. I go to a physical rehab, and we were talking about, sometimes I like to contemplate this from time to time. Think about Pentecost all the way until now. Is essentially Pentecost is kind of when Christianity really
took off.
Took off. There is no way for us to figure out the number of Christians between Pentecost and this very day, which is July 29th.
Right.
It had to be a whole lot of people. And for whatever reason, the Lord works through broken us people. I don't know why.
Yeah, he does.
But we all have different callings, and we all have to fulfill those callings to get all of those people to Christ.
Yes.
And so for some of us, we're called to go stand and defend the kingdom of God.
Mm-hmm.
And for some of us, we're called to go evangelize or go on mission trips or whatever it is, but we're all supposed to play our part because God is the one who's sovereign over it all.
Amen.
And laying all of this out before it's too late.
Yes. Yeah.
Before persecution comes unnecessarily.
Yes.
And by unnecessarily, I mean it's because, and the Lord will work through that too.
Yep.
But it didn't have to be that way.
Exactly.
Me and a friend of mine were talking about just wars the other day, and if war is just or not. And I said, before you can even get to that question in the modern day thinking of it, not the biblical thinking of it, if Christians would have done what we were supposed to do the entire time, we probably don't even have to go to war.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the same thing when we look at these schools or Sage's Law.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know if Sage's Law or the Born Alive bill, this is just conjecture, but at a minimum, if a whole bunch of Christians would have showed up and filled that room, they would have had to at least think a little harder about what they were about to do.
You know how many testified in favor of that bill? 4.
That's what I mean.
4 or 5. But it wasn't, and the room wasn't full.
Yeah.
And amazingly, a lot of the pro-life groups around our Commonwealth were not there. DAIB was there.
Yeah.
But a lot of the pro-life groups in our Commonwealth who claim to be so pro-life, they weren't in the room. On the Born Alive or the Sage's Law bill. They were nowhere to be found. Then some individuals were. But the organization was, some of these organizations in the Commonwealth were not represented in the General Assembly in those bills.
And that's where, especially if it's a large organization, well, you don't have to get your whole organization there, but you can get a third of them there.
Of course.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah. I was talking with a man Monday about the Black Robe Regiment, and of course, that goes back to our Revolutionary days.
Yeah.
Where the pastors wore the black robes and all that. Of course, as Baptists, we've gotten away from wearing the robes and all of that, and that's fine. I think Will wears one. His is
No, I don't.
I'm kidding, everybody. Will does. I've seen Will. He does not wear a robe. But anyway, and they were asking me to join that organization, and I said, well, here's my issue. I said, first of all, I'm too busy to join another organization. But Will, I wasn't trying to be rude, but I said, I'm especially too busy to join an organization that was not represented at the Capitol on pro-life or marriage issues one time last session. Now, you want me to join an organization? Why? You're not already representing pastors in Richmond.
Yeah.
So you want me to join an organization just so you can say, we have the executive director of the Virginia Assembly of Independent Baptists as a member of our organization? No, I'm not doing that because you are not present. Now, I don't, I don't hold it against you if you don't show up to argue against a tax bill
Sure.
or runoff or runoff wastewater management, whatever, or anything, or an autism bill or anything like that. But you know what? You're going to claim to be pro family. You're going to claim to be pro life. You're going to claim to be pro religious liberty, but you don't show up for one piece of legislation that's being argued. I'm thinking to myself, not only what is wrong with Christians, but what is wrong with pastors who will not engage the culture on these biblical issues, not political, these biblical issues.
I think part of it is actually, I don't really know. It's you have to be willing. You have to have the stomach for it.
Yeah.
And I don't think I don't think our Christianity today is built to withstand it.
No, they're
Some
not.
some of them are. Like, I don't want to paint that broad of a brush. There's plenty of Christians that do stand, and churches that do as well. I mean, we're going to some of them
Mhm.
over the next couple of months. But I think as a general, like, Western church type of situation, we're just comfortable.
We are.
You
Yeah,
know,
we are.
they do their little at the movies sermons, and those are my favorite. They don't.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah. No, you wouldn't be referring to them to the sermons that say don't go to the movies, would you?
no, do you know what they are at the movies?
No, tell me.
You really don't know. You're gonna get so annoyed because I know you're an expository guy like me. So at the movies is a series of sermons that a lot of really big churches will do, and they'll take whatever that year's most popular movies were, like 4 or 5 of them. Depends how long the series is. And then what they'll do, and these are secular movies, by the way. And then what they'll do is they'll shoehorn in the gospel somehow. But they'll have like popcorn you can get, when you walk in for the sermon.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can't.
Actually, should I give like some really behind this, like some really inside baseball?
Yeah.
Most of those, someone writes them all and sells them. It's a company.
Wow.
So you get all the information sent to you,
My
and
lands.
you just, that's why a lot of them look the same. That's why.
My
That's a little inside baseball for people.
Wow. Incredible. Yeah, that is annoying. I wonder what they're going to do with the Odyssey.
I didn't see it. I don't know.
I did see it.
Did you really?
Yeah, I went to see it.
Was it good?
No. No. Of course, it's all around Greek mythology.
Yeah.
It's all around
yeah, it's
that.
the Odyssey.
Yeah. So, no, I mean, it was 3 hours. 3 hours. And, no, I like the young Washington a lot. Now, that one was a good movie. I wouldn't do a sermon series out of it, but that
No.
one was a good movie.
By the way, there's nothing wrong with playing movies at your church. We do it.
No, I'm showing
just
one Friday night.
At the movies is a terrible sermon series.
No. Yeah.
No, I didn't see the Odyssey. I don't know that I will. I have a hard time when you take something as timeless as the Odyssey and then try to modernize it without even getting into like the casting and all of that stuff, because we don't have much time left. I just kind of figured it was not going to be what I wanted it to be.
Well, you had Matt Damon and Anne Hathaway and those guys, so it just no. Anti-Trump people.
Just make the Odyssey.
Yeah, that was just. Yeah, I don't know that I would have gone had I really known had I really thought about what it was about. But
you must not be on the internet a lot, because people have been.
Well, I mean, I've got particular places on the internet I go.
Yeah,
but I don't do a lot of surfing, as the term used to be. No,
on X it was like that movie was getting blown up. And, just make the Odyssey. People ask me my opinion on movies sometimes, and it's just simple. Like, if you're going to make a historical movie, then make it historical.
Yeah.
If you're gonna make a fun movie, then just make it fun. You don't have to shoehorn in some sort of weird message. It's okay to just make a fun movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Not at all. Not at all.
You don't have to shoehorn in this weird leftist stuff, and they wonder why they lose so much money all the time.
Mhm.
It's not rocket science.
No, not at all.
I'm not taking my kid to that,
No, I get it.
or myself,
I
let
get it.
alone my son.
I get it.
I used to go to the movies all the time, like all the time. I go maybe twice a year now.
Hmm.
I mean, part of it is because I'm paying for 3 tickets instead of 1 or 2, but
Yeah. And then you gotta buy popcorn and candy and
no, of course, you can't go to the movies and just sit there.
no, I mean, you look like a dork if you don't have a bucket of popcorn.
What are you doing?
Where'd this dude come from? The thing about it is, my boy here. You'll find this funny. Here, my boys were late buying the tickets, right? So they bought consecutive seats for them, but Dad was 3 rows back by himself, and I look like some moron. As everybody's coming in, why couldn't that dude get a date? What's wrong with him?
Maybe they did it on purpose.
They did exactly. They did it on purpose.
Jerks. Oh man, how'd you make it through 3 hours of that?
I should have called you. So you want to go to the movies with me Friday? That would have been real weird. Call parents. Well, hey, this is Doc W. You want to go to the movies with me Friday night, big fella?
What? It's the world we live in now.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
I think I would have got really annoyed with 3 hours of that.
Oh, it was it was, and it was an IMAX, and so the entire room was vibrating. I mean, they got speakers everywhere, and of course, the screen is.
Was it at least cool to watch in IMAX?
Well,
like story aside,
the picture itself wasn't any clearer than just a regular movie theater.
Oh, that's kind of a bummer.
But the screen was probably 3 times as big, as the regulars, and it was very much surround sound. And when you had a lot of action going on, in fact, there was one scene where they were in a storm on the boat, and my son, who wasn't sitting with me, told me after the fact that he had to close his eyes because it was so bright because of the size of the screen.
Oh, wow.
And the vibration was so bad because of the speakers. His head was starting to spin. So it was different, but not necessarily in a good way.
Yeah.
But yes, it is different. And the tickets were like $2 more a person. Or $3 more a person.
Yeah. Always.
But that's what's happening in Virginia, folks, and that's kind of where we are on some of the legislations coming up. We've got some other things to talk about as our shows progress, and
we should do a pop culture show one time.
I thought you were going to say we all have popcorn.
No. One of my favorite things to do is because everything has a worldview.
Yeah,
and I love it when people will come to me and tell me a movie's so good and they recommend it for me to watch it. And to be fair, like if I think it looks good, I'll watch it. Like I don't know that I'll see the Odyssey. Maybe I will, but and I like to go back to those people and rip apart the worldview of the movie. There's like 3 people on the planet who will talk to movies about me now because I just ruin it.
You must be a real liberal if you like that movie.
Man, I just don't know how you change the Odyssey. How do you improve on something like that? I don't know. You can't.
No.
We should do that'd be fun.
Yeah, I think so. We ought to do a live. I was thinking about this. We ought to do a live podcast with a live audience. Let's fill this.
Oh, we could do that.
Let's fill this room. We'll feed them dinner, and we'll do a live broadcast with a live audience and give them opportunity to ask questions.
We could absolutely do that.
Podcast.
Yeah, we can figure that out.
Yeah.
We'll have to get a couple more cameras. But yeah, we could do that.
We'll get Kevin from Students for Life help us with that, or Dan here.
Oh, we would need Kevin and Dan for sure. Yeah, we would have to.
We need 2 producers for that show.
Yeah, we would need Kevin and Dan to help us with that one. That's a good idea. Yeah, we'll set that up. Maybe we'll do it like right before election or something.
Yeah. Neat.
Before the voting.
Yeah, be neat.
All right. You got any plugs, sir?
Well, just remember, to find out more information about the Virginia Assembly of Independent Baptists, I'm the executive director. Go to www.vaib.org. If you want to receive our legislative updates to keep you informed of what's going on in Richmond, you can read articles at thekingdompolitics.org, and you can email me at director@vaib.org and give me your name and email address, and I will get my staff to add you to the list. It's a free email service. We do not sell your email addresses. They stay in-house, so don't worry about that. We want to keep you updated. We recognize not everyone can go to the Capitol, but we want to keep you updated about
Yeah.
what's going on at the Capitol. And so that's a good way for you to stay informed. You can also, like I said, just email me at director@vaib.org. And on the same website, you can view our videos on the marriage and the abortion amendment. We have some high quality videos that we shot that's going to message to you everything that we've discussed here on these podcasts. And you can also you the abortion amendment, what I've entitled the abortion amendment exegesis, which I break down every portion of the amendment on the abortion side and tell you exactly what each line means, what the language could allow legally because of its omission or inclusion of language. And you can also, right there at our page, go sign up for our annual conference, September 24th and 25th at Landmark Baptist Church in Richmond, Virginia, where we will have a good time beginning on Thursday evening and continuing throughout the day on Friday. You can go to vaib.org, go to the conference tab on the left and click on register here and let us know that you're coming. We'd love to have you. Start at 6:30 on Thursday the 24th. And then we will have the meeting all day on Friday. We're also going to feed you lunch, so we will be glad to have you. If you have any questions for me, you can email me at Dr. Michael at thekingdompolitics.org or director@vaib.org. Thank you, Will, for your hard work on this. And this is quite an adventure that we are going through together.
Yeah, it's fun. It's an adventure. We're building something pretty cool. And like I said at the beginning, if you didn't catch it right at the beginning, check out the Kingdom Politics, thekingdompolitics.org. It'll be in the show notes, the link. Check out the website. Check out the Get Involved. Get involved with what we got going on. We're not asking for a lot. We're asking for your talents and your time and whatever time you can give. So
yes,
and as always, like and subscribe on YouTube and Apple or wherever you're listening. I still amaze people listening on Apple.
Yeah.
But I guess, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's cool. So wherever you're listening, like and subscribe. It helps us with the algorithms.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next week.
God bless.
And I heard the voice of the Lord saying, "Whom shall I send? And who will go for us?" And I said, "Here am I. Send me."
Rise up, Christ one, only bow to his throne, Satan. Try and temper, he ain't loud in my